going on, guys? Aqua here, back with another video here today to give you my review of this new Magic 2 record by Nas, produced by Hit Boy. Make sure before we get into the video that you all subscribe. I've just hit 30 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate that. Trying to get to 200 by the end of the year. So yep, let's run it up. So let's talk about Nas a little bit. Recently, of course, we know that Nas has been on, at this point, a 5-album run of a new career high with the King's Disease series along with the Magic series. And I didn't listen to Magic 1 going into this. And I'm actually curious to now listen to Magic 1 to see what the difference between, the King's Disease and the Magic series is. I already have, a decent idea from just listening to this record, but I'm curious to really get a feel for the difference in the series because, that's definitely a thing for certain artists where it's like, obviously Speeding Bullets to Heaven, Kids See Ghost sound very different than Man on the Moon and that whole series, right? The Man on the Moon, it was a series for Cudi. And I'm curious to see what the difference sonically and lyrically he offers between the Magic and the King's Disease series. This record was pretty interesting for a lot of reasons. Wasn't as long as other records, but Nas is coming back with pretty much no features except for one that we'll talk about in the record. And he is sort of similar to King's Disease 2, very much back in his reminiscing, or King's Disease 3, I should say. Oh no, King's Disease 2, King's Disease 2. Back into his reminiscing bag, which is always nice to hear. So let's get straight into it. The writing, of course, y'all know is Nas. I'm going to give it an amazing, and this is subject to change. Right now, I have it as an amazing because while there is a lot of amazing tracks on there, such as such as Black Magic that goes over the basically goes over all the different forms of lust and how they can eventually consume you. While there is also Pistol on the album cover, which goes over his history in the music industry and the stuff he's seen and the incredible works and bodies of works and how those bodies of works have inspired him. And then there's, I think, the what it really is. I can't remember how exactly the name goes. Where he talks a lot about sort of being young and having money, and while the refrains, I think that like I'm learning to not be biased. Like, even though he'll have bars on there, like I was running with the scrotum, like even though he'll have those like kind of sexual refrains on there, I can't be biased, of course. Like the sexual refrains aren't worse because he's older, even if they may come off a little bit more cringy to somebody young like me, because at the end of the day, it still comes from this very lesson oriented place, this very like knowledge oriented place. And generally speaking, I like that record because a lot of it gives kind of that doo-wop, that thing energy, and similar to Black Magic as well, where they talk about sort of the what to look out for as a young individual. And again, I think it's one of the best routes to go into, where you make the young listener feel understood, saying, hey, I engage in the same practices, I engaged in the same behaviors as you did, but I'm telling you from the other side, this is what I've learned. And I think but having that recognition before, or even just in the same album, as you also explain what are the pitfalls of this lifestyle, I think is a really important way to go about things. And so yeah, overall I thought the writing was amazing, but this is subject to change. A lot of the songs, I think Irvin Magic Johnson, I don't quite understand as well, and so they kind of come off as like just lyrical miracle, like bar spitting tracks, which is fine. Nas is one of the best at those. The technical rhymes are insane, and rather than just having bland old boring rhymes that don't connect, normally there's like a theme throughout the bars of older references and just him reminiscing on things he's lived in his life. But compared to the more lyrically focused tracks, they don't quite hit as hard. But I'm willing to also chalk this up to, at the current moment, I don't fully understand what the deeper meaning is, because even the songs that I just told you that I did took quite a few listens for me to really dig deep into this. Nas is definitely one of those artists that's harder to understand on first listen, most definitely, similar to like Lupe Fiasco or Kendrick Lamar. Production, and this is where I was most impressed. I'm gonna give this an amazing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Low key, maybe even a perfect, to be honest, just because it was a shorter record, had more of a mixtape feel, and but Hit Boy just comes with these like beats with this like powerful sounds and like this progression on the production that is just insane. And Nas has always surrounded himself with very strong, important producers, and like Hit Boy really sort of is taking up that mantle right now. And like honestly, I think my first listen, I was more taken aback, especially when you listen to songs like Abracadabra and Irvin Magic Johnson. You're more taken back by the soundscape even than Nas lyrically, and Nas is literally one of the greatest, if not the greatest, rappers of all time. And so, yeah, no, that was really impressive. The samples, the boom bap mixed with the modern trap sounds was incredible and really, really enjoyable, and makes for this honestly very unique sound. I think Nas has a very unique sound at this point in his career because he's able to so easily blend the old with the new. I think Pusha T is doing a decent job of that as well. But I think that Pusha as Hit Boy is a little bit more involved with the new school, as opposed to Kanye or Pharrell. Nas is really able to make a statement where he's able to have beats that are literally like not just mass appealing, but literally incredible to both sides of the aisle. But if you listen to the chord progression on some of this production, it's absolutely incredible. Abracadabra, even Black Magic, for all it does lyrically, is still such an incredible song from a production standpoint. Going back to the writing, Office Hours was another song I feel like I'm still trying to understand. A lot of right now it feels like a lot of just like Queens murder bars and stuff like that, which I don't mind, or Queen street bars, which I don't mind. But it definitely didn't have the lyrical focus that maybe I was expecting from a Nas. And it's not always, what I'm saying. Of course, anybody can have a couple lyrical miracle tracks. Shoot, Forever Story had a couple of them. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it definitely, there was definitely a decent amount of that on this record, which is why, again, for now, I just give it an amazing. But going back to the production, the the beat progression, the way that samples come in, there's still this old school feel to the production because Hit Boy is still working with Nas. That's one of the most incredible things about this whole record, is that like you have this ability. Hit has this ability to seemingly just properly adjust his production to whomever he's with. Similar to like Metro, where you'll see this very dark, gritty production with 21 Savage and Future, but then you hear him on Heroes and Villains, and it's very luxurious and it's very lush and colorful. As he's got a wider array of artists, and it's really interesting to see those kinds of production choices, and the way that people work with different artists is really, really dope. So yeah, production was genuinely amazing. This is probably the best I've heard Hit Boy, and these beats feel a lot more full than anything I've ever heard from Hit Boy in the past. So Hit Boy honestly getting even better. I think that like, you know, I'm you know what, I should make that versus actually Hit Boy versus Metro. I'm curious. I think I've probably talked about that before, but man, like Hit Boy is really coming into his own as a producer with these nods. I mean, he's always been amazing, right? He's always been amazing. Burden of Proof is a classic to me. But like it's crazy how he can go from a Burden to Proof to a Racks in the Middle to a Magic to a King's Disease, and somehow Magic and King's Disease have different feeling productions. It's absolutely incredible. Musical execution, I give this an amazing as well. I really enjoyed the choruses on here. While they did feel a little bit standard, for Nas, I feel like these were incredibly strong. And again, he's employing these triplet flows that I talk about, where it's these modern flows that like you don't even expect somebody like Nas to be using, but he's really engaging and he's like good at them, and it's incredible to like see. I especially loved Abracadabra. I especially loved Bokeem Woodbine. I don't know. One Man One Gun was also pretty solid with 21 Savage. And so yeah, no, the musical execution was genuinely, the flows were killer, but and of course the beats. You can just get enveloped into the whole soundscape of this record, and while you will be missing a lot of bars, it is still like, it is still like incredible just to get enveloped into what Hit Boy has to offer throughout. I don't give it an amazing because there was nothing that was like truly mind blowing about the production. It's definitely listenable, fun, and has diversity. Uh, but I think that the choruses, like for it to be perfect, at least for me, the choruses have to be really like something incredible and special, and I just don't really feel like I always got that on this record. Not that there was any misses, but I just feel like musically it didn't quite hit the high highs I would need for it to be perfect. But it was still very strong, and definitely I think from a chorus perspective, this is Nas's best project I've heard from him so far, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, definitely amazing on the musical execution. Features, I was gonna give this a good because I really wasn't that big of the 50 Cent feature. His voice sounded oddly mixed, and also he was a little bit off beat to me. And I'm definitely I'm working on a really big video about hip hop groups, and I don't know where G Unit is gonna place, but I'm definitely feeling like 50 Cent as an artist is feeling more and more one note to me as I sort of move through his catalog. And, as a result, maybe it wasn't the right time for me to listen to this verse because it definitely just felt like, dang, like 20, 30 years later, he's still rapping about the same, you know what I mean? But it still wasn't a bad feature. It still had of course, the solid rhyme schemes that you get from a 50 Cent verse. And it was still, had very potent bars. So still really strong, but just had a decent amount of problems. And, I think it was overall underwhelming, I think. For such an impactful Queens comeback. They also put One Mic, One Gun on here, and I liked that song when it came out, and I like that song now. 21 Savage, of course, he don't miss on features. Let's stop playing with that. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. He didn't beat Nas or nothing, but he don't miss on features. Let's keep it being right. And so that was really cool. It was a little bit weird. I think like you know. It's funny to hear 21 Savage saying like, "Oh, we don't mess with the blog. We don't do all of that." And like, I'm not saying like blogs can be out of pocket, but especially now as like a fledgling social media person now, in my head I'm like, what do you mean the blogs? Like, you went on record and said he wasn't relevant. Like, like what you how like that be I don't know. Like sometimes people be like, oh, they have us going again. Like I hate, man, Kanye said that they have us going against each other. No, you drop lift yourself. That's why you and Drake don't like each other. It's that simple. Like what? Like but other than that bar, I just thought that bar was funny because it's like, nah, like you said it though. But anyway, other than that, I really enjoyed that feature. I love 21 Savage's flow, and Hit Boy, of course, provides an incredible beat for that. And it's cool to see 21 Savage ride over different production because I think that makes him a stronger artist overall, and I think it makes him a more versatile artist overall. So yeah, that was really great. Overall flows, I'm gonna give this another amazing. I'm a sucker for fast flows. Y'all know I love Favi, I love A Boogie, right? I love Don Q. I love those fast, trendy triplet flows that some people be that people be using. And Nas on this record had a ton of those, but a couple of slower songs with like slower delivery that I also liked as well. But I think that most importantly, the tone of his voice and his flows matched the seriousness of what he was talking about. He was braggadocious on this album. There was a lot of braggadocia, and he would get into those faster triplet, we lit flows on those songs. But then when it was time to get more serious, like on a Black Magic, on a Slow It Down, which Slow It Down, another song that from a writing standpoint, incredible lyrical focus on that one. Again, just going over the potential pitfalls of being young, and but this time from the artist perspective, really going over how you know people can really sell their souls just for one hit, and do and sort of when the problem when you ride off trends. J. Cole talks about this a lot as well. When he has in his bar, when he has All My Life, he's like uh trying to lap niggas, so they think they ahead of me, but I'm really in front of them. I'm running long distance, right? Talking about how after their one hit, a lot of artists will get gassed out. So incredible lyrical focus on that record as well. But yeah, definitely, you know, for songs like that, he literally slowed down the flow and really like spoke, you know, to people in this very earnest and honest way that I thought was really compelling and interesting. And so yeah, overall, I just really enjoyed the flows on this record. Wasn't perfect, still got. I think if the record was longer, the flows would get a bit tiresome because there wasn't much of a change in delivery as much as I would have liked. and but you know, because the record was shorter, only 11 songs, this really didn't bother me as much as it might for other people. So yeah, I really enjoyed the flows. And yeah, oh, and I don't know if I said this, but the features, I would give them a great. I was gonna give them a good, but 21 Savage definitely elevates it to a great for me. But yeah, overall, I thought this record was amazing. I really enjoyed it, and it's one of the strongest records to come out this year. It's crazy, like we were just talking about how mid this year was, and like literally, like three album of the year contenders come in the span of like 2 weeks. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This top five, I might even have more amazing. I think I had six amazing records last year. I might even have more amazing records this year than I did last year, which is crazy given how good last year was. And that's just a testament to, you know, how exciting it is to be sort of a listener of New York music and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this listen. Definitely gonna give it a few more listens. Might even give it a re-review when I better understand the writing. But definitely just wanted to give you all some of my first thoughts and what I think of the record. I really am sort of enjoying this listen. It's definitely gonna be in my rotation. So yeah, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. And with that being said, peace, y'all.